The mother bear is keeping the catch to herself, which seemed cruel until we realized that at this time of year, the cub would still be nursing. It was the mother whose needs must come first, so she could later provide sustenance for her cub. At the peak of the run, these waters are thick with hurrying salmon. The earlier bears can easily snap up 100 a day. Now, however, the bears have to work pretty hard for their catch. Summers here are short. These huge bears have to grab every opportunity to get as much food as they can, so as to get as fat as possible before the long winter sets in. By this time, most of the salmon had already passed by. The run was thinning, and some of the bears appeared to be getting desperate. The Alaskan brown is the biggest of all bears. It takes a lot of food to sustain that huge muscular bulk. When they waken from their winter's rest, they eat quantities of spring berries and as many lemmings and squirrels as they can catch. But now they sense winter coming and instinctively know that nothing will be as nourishing and as rich in protein as the sockeye salmon. They're determined to catch as many as they can before the run is over. Having no luck at the nearby falls, this bear gave up and waded over to where he knew there would be less desirable but still nourishing dead fish, caught in the rocks, fish that had exhausted themselves trying to make the falls. It is unusual for a bear to put his head underwater for a dead fish. This one knew just what he was doing. He should. Alaskan brown bears have been fishing these waters since long before human fishermen ever thought of casting a line into any of the world's rivers or streams. Once these salmon have made their difficult way through the commercial fishing fleets, up waterfalls, past ravenous bears, and up swift rivers, they finally reach the peaceful waters of Iliamna Lake. There they rest, compose themselves, and gather strength to go on. Since leaving the ocean and entering fresh water, they have eaten nothing. Many of their number have fallen by the wayside, unable to take the battering strain. The remaining are the strongest, the fittest of the species. They are the ones that now continue the upstream struggle toward their goal. No one is dead certain how salmon know precisely when and in what direction to turn themselves so as to head homeward and to get there, just when their glands are ready for the once-in-a-lifetime act of spawning, after which they die. Scientists think salmon find their way through the open sea by a combination of skills, including some sort of miraculous inner gyroscope that is zeroed in on their home bay. Once they reach fresh water, a different homing mechanism takes over. Salmon pick the right river, the right tributary, then the right stream by simply following their noses. They appear to sniff their way back to their home stream. A salmon can apparently smell minute traces of organic material from the plant life in and around his own birth stream, and will follow that incredibly faint odor until finally locating precisely the right home stream. A human hand is dipped into a stream momentarily. Salmon can detect the smell 100 yards down current and may stop migrating until the odor goes away. Some salmon fight their way as much as 1,000 miles up the rivers and streams of the Pacific coast before reaching the only goal that will satisfy them, a particular few feet of stream bed in which they were born, and where, if they make it, they will spawn. These red sockeyes travel less than 100 miles inland from the ocean, but the obstacles are tremendous. Nature seems to require each salmon to expend itself to the utmost before reaching its home stream. Many don't make it. During their upstream struggle toward their spawning grounds, salmon do not feed. The trip takes Herculean effort, and the salmon become steadily thinner and weaker. At sea, salmon are sparkling, beautiful creatures. But from the moment they enter fresh water, they begin aging, deteriorating, becoming senile. Their skin softens and peels away. Their nervous systems degenerate. The jaws of the male begin to hook upward grotesquely until he can no longer close his mouth. In 2 weeks in fresh water, a salmon ages as much as a man does in 30 years. Finally, for these salmon, the terrible struggle is over. The goal is reached. They're home. They may lie relatively quietly here for several days, awaiting the peak of their sex drives. Meanwhile, the male will defend their breeding grounds, chasing off all intruders, and waiting. When the moment is right, the female will suddenly start slapping the gravel on the bottom of the stream with her still powerful tail. Sand and pebbles are dislodged and carried downstream by the current. He keeps slapping and digging until she has created a small hollow, her nest. The male, with growing excitement, tries to help. The female seems to resist the male's anxious quiverings, still paying attention to her nest, getting it just right. Finally, the nest is ready. Several hundred eggs are released and covered with a cloud of fertilizing milt. The pair will repeat this ritual once or twice more in the next few feet of stream, until the female has laid some 3,000 eggs. Water currents will cover them with several inches of gravel, and they will lie there until next spring, when tiny hatchlings will work their way to the surface. Start the whole remarkable salmon cycle all over again. The parents, meanwhile, their life's duty complete, collapse in exhaustion. The currents they had so courageously fought now carry them gently back downstream, depositing their dying bodies in shallows and on banks, past which they had so recently and heroically swum. Unlike man, nature will soon take care of her waste material, absorbing it back into the ecosystem. Soon, scavengers from bears to bacteria will see to it that these stream banks are clean again. By next season, these inland waters will again be pure and welcoming for the next hurrying wave of instinct-driven sockeyes, for next summer's huge salmon run through Alaska's Bristol Bay.